Hello and welcome to episode 41 of Celtic Rumours TV, the Bawz and Bovril podcast with your host Mark and myself Paul. Join us on today's show we have John, United Ireland from our forum. Our forum page is a live chat of Celtic fans discussing everything about Celtic and have a voice to discuss their own opinions about Celtic. If you wish to check it out, it's at celticrumours.co.uk. This show is sponsored by Manscaped Grooming and Hygiene for Men. Manscaped is changing the way men approach grooming with their Performance Package 3.0. This bundle includes a Lawnmower 3.0, Weed Whacker, Performance, Boxers, Briefs, a travel kit formulations to help upgrade your grooming game. The Lawnmower 3.0 is a John Terry of grooming, of defence, because of the third generation trimmer, features cutting edge ceramic blade and reduces grooming accidents thanks to its advanced skincare technology. There's even a waterproof technology and LED lights so grooming in the shower. We all know how terrible the cleanup that can be. If you were held back from those nose hairs, and we have the perfect solution to you, the Weed Whacker Ears and Nose and Hairs Trimmer. This trimmer has the same Manscaped SkinScape technology, will help rejuvenate snags and tugs in those nose and holes. 79 departments poll admitted that nose hairs is a long and major turn off. Imagine if your significant other half grooming some nasty nose hairs, pretty sure you wouldn't be keen on them either. Don't forget the bundle comes with a crop preserver, ball deodorant, anti-chaff and ball deodorant, moisturiser, crop reviver, ball toner, a toner for your testicles that's infused with aloe vera. You're going to want to join the ball sack beauty contest after using this crop preserver. Check out our website for some cool products, including our cologne and foot duster, foot deodorant, which is there to freshen up your stinky ball bag. Get 20% off plus free shipping with your order with our code Celtic Rumours TV at manscaped.com. Not only will your balls thank you for it, your wife will thank you for it as well. On today's show, we'll take a look at the latest gossip and rumours around Celtic. John will be joining us after the gossip and rumours, where we will discuss last Saturday's 2-1 defeat at the hands of Heart. SPL Referees Standards have dropped already so early in this season, and what do Celtic have to do to change this? Do Celtic need tough players like Peter Grant, Alan Thompson and Scott Brown and Neil Lennon again? John will have time in the mic to discuss his thoughts on Celtic. And finally we take a look at Celtic's match against Jablonce on Thursday night in the Europa League qualifiers at 4:45. Firstly, we'll hand off to Mark for a few shout-outs.
Thanks very much, Paul. The link to the Manscaped site, along with everything else, the link to the forum, all our social medias and that's on the description box below. A few shout-outs, just the usual suspects: Richie, Malika, Tim Alloy, Ben, and Mickey's still struggling with all his leg. And also a Glasgow Green for the forum. I had an email from him earlier on. He's going through a bit of a rough patch, so all the best to him. And I'll email you back later on, mate. I know you're listening here. We're now at 456 subs, Paul. We lost one for yesterday, so we must have upset somebody. I don't know who that was.
That was John Kennedy we last place it.
Thanks everybody for all the subs and all the support on here and on the forum. If you've not subscribed, please do it and smash your like button. And share it about your social medias for us. Thanks very much, lads.
Perfect. Celtic have reportedly held talks with 30-year-old Irish international James McCarthy. The 30-year-old is a free agent after leaving Everton at the start of the transfer window. Olivier Cham and Jonathan Flory are the latest players to leave Celtic, and Cham has become a free agent after leaving Celtic, and Jonathan Flory has just joined Ayr United as we speak. Celtic have been told that by Tottenham that they will have to pay around £5 million for 23-year-old centre-back Callum Carter-Vickers. The player himself and Spurs are not interested in a loan deal, as the player wants a full-time contract instead of a one-year loan deal option. Turkish beacons Galatasaray and Fenerbahce have both inquired about Celtic right-back targets Buta if Celtic would have bid a respective offer for the 4.5 million repair and not the suggested 3 million, Celtic would not have been involved in a bidding war, which is now more likely to start after the Tuckett Giants have both entered the race to sign the right back's defender. Ryan Christie was left out of Celtic starting lineup against Hearts because his agent has been held in talks with Crystal Palace. It's been reported that Christie himself asked not to be in the starting lineup in fear of picking up an injury. New Crystal Palace manager Patrick Vieira is a keen admirer of Christie and tried to sign the player last summer while he was manager of Monaco. Celtic forward Edouard is unsure if Brighton is the best move for him again and is unwilling to move to the Seagulls before the transfer window closes. Celtic look set to sign League of Ireland player and Shamrock Rovers player Liam Scales, the 6-foot left-footed side centre-back and left-footed player. Looks like that he'll be joining Celtic in the next couple of days. Scales plays in both centre-back, left-back and left wing-back. There with Delphin holds shares in Shamrock Rovers, so this signing comes no real surprise to me at the moment. That's it for all the gossip and rumours for today. Of course, this is all gossip and remains gossip until Celtic make a concrete offer or actually sign the player. Mark, do you want to get
John the now?
Yeah. Join us today on today's show is John United Forum. Again, if anyone is new to listening, check out our forum where Celtic support discuss everything about Celtic. It's celticrumours.co.uk. Back to us while getting John on there. 1 minute Encham was leaving, 1 minute Encham was staying. Next he was leaving again. Then he said he wants to stay because he wants another year with Celtic. I know he's a free agent. That's a really strange thing about Encham.
I'm just glad he's away, Paul. I really am. But there was I mean, when was the last time it was just even any good games he had, it was few and far between for us. He looked on when he first came in, but he fell away and then just he's not looked at. It was when Dembele left. He kind of took the hump then. And I can't.
Always thought he was bigger than Celtic, though, didn't he?
Can't believe it. No, I mean, but 18 months, 2 years ago, we were knocking back bids of 10 million and 12 million for him for Portland, things like that. And then gave him a free transfer. I think that's John. Now you there, John?
I'm here, boys.
Thanks very much for coming on again, bud.
No worries. Thanks for having us again.
John, what's your take on the Encham deal? That 1 minute he was staying, the next minute he wanted away, the next minute he was staying. You know, maybe Ange, as you were saying to myself, Mark just had enough of him, that he wasn't committed or something.
Definitely. Just in terms of overall, obviously the way he came in, his potential, the first season he had kind of had a lot of hopes from maybe where he plays it's going to explode in the next few years and gets a big fee. Obviously for him to leave for nothing, it's disappointing, but I think it's for the best. I think he was causing a lot of negativity. And, we just need all that out of the squad this season, and I just probably looked at it like just release him because we're not going to get money for him away. I think the Marseille situation as well, that didn't help things either.
It might push Edouard close out the door as well, Mark, considering that his little group of players seem to be leaving Celtic, don't they?
Well, you'd think that they were kind of allies in the dressing room, wouldn't you? Encham and Edouard, the squad of like a wee French contingent we had, but I don't think that'll make much difference. Edouard will be aware before. I don't wait he'll be here by the time the window closes, Paul.
Exactly. I
don't know how he can turn his nose up at Brighton either.
No, that's what I was going to bring up. That he's saying to think he's bigger now than these clubs, doesn't he? You know.
Well, look what happened with Ayer. Milan and all that were watching Ayer last year. After I think Ayer had a bad season, but it was the best season, I suppose. But I mean, we said at the time he's just went to Brentford and it'll be a stepping stone to the next team in the Premier League. So I think Edouard should be looking at the same kind of move this year.
And reading into the lines as well, Christie is another one who looks to be gotten marked by the transfer window closing. I believe in Crystal Palace are strongly linked with him, and
What the
he could be on his way there.
they're replacing James McCarthy with him then probably, isn't it?
Moving on, it's been a long journey so far for Ange and Celtic, with their first 3 competitive games, 1 draw and 2 losses. Before we talk about last weekend's game, John, why do you think it has been so tough for Ange so far at Celtic in the competitive games?
He's not really getting any options there. He's trying to go with what he's got, and you can see it's frustrating because he plays there. But there's no infinity, that quality is just going to take a game with the stuff and turn the chances into goals. So we need to get signing in soon. But got to the end of the month, so I'll kind of stay patient to the end and see what we get in, then I can judge a bit better.
That's basically it, Mark, isn't it? That he doesn't have the players at his disposal to kind of implement the play he wants to play properly at Celtic, isn't it?
That's a big part of it. And plus, I've said players that aren't really want to be there. He's been forced now. He's forced his hand. He's got to pick these guys. I mean, I'd imagine that Ange would more than love a guy like Edward's ability to be out there really, really trying. Do you know what I mean? But just it doesn't seem to be happening. But he's got to keep. It really is. He's got to keep continuing to pick him.
See, that's it. Like, we don't see the way Edwards is at training. He could be a top-class player training, but then just on the pitch, he's just not producing it on the pitch, and that's why he's probably getting picked because of his training performances. You know?
It's a possibility. It's obviously when Ange's seen him in training, he's probably just looking compared to our other options up front and just going, he's got something a bit special for him. And just having a wee bit of faith in him and hope he's just going to go and be professional.
He is probably
No.
our best option for a goal.
Yeah.
And he joined. I mean, that's probably as well. He's the best. We've seen him in training. He'll be pinging goals in left, right, and centre probably. And Ange's looking at him and saying, "Well, if he does click 1 or 2, we're 2 goals up."
Definitely. Heartbeat's thinking behind it. He's the one that's just got to pop up with the goals. Just need, as you say there, just needs a 1 or 2 to click.
Let's talk about the negatives first in the Hearts game, and what does Ange need to do before Thursday games against Jablonce on Thursday? John, what negatives have you seen about Celtic last Thursday and Saturday?
Just for the game at the weekend, the negative I seen was kind of beating playing. I prefer to be Welsh in there. I can see the plays getting better, and I can see what he's trying to do, but it's for not taking the chances. That's the negatives. Then other things as well. It's just like there's nobody else grabbing it with a scruff either. It's kind of hard to call, but it's just frustrating to watch as well.
Mark, yourself?
There was just organisation again, Paul, at the back, defence, set pieces. I mean, I know we're going to speak about the referee and that, but that's no excuse for us not defending set pieces again.
I suppose to go by.
I mean, we made again. We used to say this under Lennon quite a lot. We made enough chances to win the game.
Exactly.
There was bits of the play. I mean, Starfelt got off to a bit of a stinker, but I think as the game went on,
he settled more into it, yeah.
Settled in, and you can kind of forgive him for that. You know, I mean, he's only in the door 2 minutes, and we're putting him into the first team, my first team game.
Like going by set pieces, and going at the end of last season, our set pieces kind of improved when Welch kind of came into the centre back pairing with Ayer, and then when you take Welch out of the team and you have a defensive midfielder in a position where he shouldn't be, and you have a new centre back in that position, Mark, those set pieces are going to be still there. Mistakes are going to be still there because Beaton isn't going to organise your backline for those set pieces because he's not a centre back. He doesn't know how to. Starfelt was only just in the team, Beaton should have been nowhere near that starting lineup.
Again, I think Ange's just. I think he's went with experience. I get what we said to the European game, as he went with experience next to the new guy Starfelt, but it was a bad choice. I mean, even when we saw the team, we knew it was a bad.
Yeah, even even Beaton's fitness again still is questionable, like, you know, because he was kind of pulling up near the end there again with his calf or with his hamstring, like, you know, you have to question like Beaton's fitness, Mark, that he's not up to the way Ange wants to play. Not because he's playing in the wrong position. Even his fitness levels, Mark, have to be questioned as well, Beaton's.
Aye, I'd say that as well. He's never been the most mobile player. He's never.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when he was playing as a defensive midfielder, his strength was he could read the game, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that's maybe why they kind of thought that they could turn him into a centre back if he could just read the game as well as he done at the centre midfield, the defensive midfield role. But he just doesn't do
Some kind of defensive midfielders, they kind of drop. I know what you're saying. They kind of drop into the back line and they're able to adjust to that position. But Beaton never really. He doesn't have the physique for it, Mark. Or Beaton won't go in for a tackle fair. He's not that type of player,
No.
and I can't see how Ange on a backroom staff see him as. I think no, I'm going to give Ange the benefit of the doubt because he's only new in. He's only going by what he's told between the backroom staff, but it's Ange needs to make a decision, Mark. No, I'm not. But he needs to make a decision, Mark, and see himself that Bison isn't that player. Do you know what I mean? You know.
Well, hopefully he'll not be starting there much. Do you get what I mean? Hopefully
Mhm.
we'll bring in another central defender. I think, as I say,
I think this lad Scales from Shamrock Rovers is a done deal now. He's 22 years of age, so I don't know, is he going to be shown down into the coach team or is he going to be in the first team? But looking at me, the deal is practically done, what I'm hearing here, but I can't see this lad being a first time regular in Celtic's team, like what I've saw of him, Mark. Like, there's a big step up between the League of Ireland and Scottish football. Do you know what I mean? You know, and I think this deal is just done because of Dermot Desmond's involvement in Shamrock Rovers. Do you get me?
but I'd rather this young lad for Shamrock Rovers sitting on the bench than Beaton. We've talked about before
Because he can read the game. Yeah, exactly. No, he's 6 foot.
how Beaton and that sitting on the bench are stop progress of young players. Whereas
Exactly.
the guy at 22, he's obviously a decent enough player.
6'4" as well, Mark.
Get him in, him like Welsh or or backup centre backs.
You have to learn from somewhere as well, Mark, don't you? Like, you have to start off. Like, I'm delighted that a young Irish lad is getting a chance at Celtic. No, I really am. You know, but it'll take him time to get him to the level where he needs to be because there is a big step. You get me? There's a big step up between the League of Ireland, Mark, and Celtic. You get me? And
But is there against?
we have the best manager around, Mark, to help him
But is there,
to do that.
is there really that big a step up between your kind of Kilmarnocks and St Mirren?
Not your Kilmarnock, but I'm on about Celtic's level. Do you get me?
But I mean, the young boy.
But he'd be able to play against the likes of your Kilmarnocks and stuff like that. You know, no issues against that. But if you want to progress in Europe and stuff like that,
Oh, he's no good.
he needs time there, Mark, to settle down and get the backroom staff train him to be the player that Celtic need him to be. Do you get me?
Aye.
You know. I think our goalkeeper position again has to be questioned. Firstly, we questioned Barker's positioning for goals. I know we're going to question Bain's position. He was caught in two minds whether to come for the cross for the second goal. Because of this, he was in no man's land. He was on the 6-yard box by the time the Hearts got their second goal, the header. Like, that's again all down to a Celtic player being able to read the game, Mark, and positioning. And like, our goalkeepers just aren't progressing. Do you know what I mean? Two of them aren't progressing. They seem to be making these mistakes. And I think it has to come down to the coaching of Stevie Woods between these keepers. If we keep making these mistakes, Mark, it has to. Now, I've gave him the benefit.
Aye, it's weird to say that about Stevie Woods. It really is, but you've got to say how.
Yeah, because
we've said it before. I don't know if John was on that. How Skpe actually get worse when we had him.
Like,
Cass,
I went in a bit of the doubt, Mark, because of what she was saying to me about Stevie Woods, and like he's involved in the Scottish setup as well, Mark, and the keepers are good in the Scottish get now. It could be down to Mark, our keepers are just bad, but then look, Mark, it's up to the coaching staff to help these fellas. But these are basic mistakes our lads are making. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like they're not making save. No, Bain made a good save yesterday at the end of the game, and you have to give him credit where credit is due. But our position and our decision making by our keepers, Mark, is just constant. And that's what I'm wondering. Like, what are we doing in training that our defenders, or goalkeepers are still making these same mistakes? Like, is Stevie Woods showing them these mistakes, Mark? Or are we not learning from these mistakes? Do you get me?
I don't think Stevie Wood should need to show them. They're being
No,
basic
Mark.
mistakes. They know their. I mean, they've got to know themselves. They've just made a complete be something.
You know, like I know now this cutting two minds for a keeper. No, it's a common mistake by a keeper, Mark, being caught, but it's happened too more than often. Like, and it's not just happening one keeper now, Mark. It's happening with two keepers. Do you get me? And that seems to be the problem. Like that, or two keepers seem to be making these. And even when Hazard came in, Mark, he was kind of unsure under the ball as well, coming for crosses, and he was kind of flapping our crosses as well when they came in, Hazard. Like, so it seems to be a big problem that our keepers can't defend crosses into the ball. And I saw again, Hart started putting players in the wrong bin yesterday. So every team we play against now knows that our keeper position is our weakest position in the team. You know?
For me as well, Paul, that shows up the weakness in the centre back's position as well, because that's kind of part of the centre back's job.
Protect your keeper.
Protect the keeper to go for the ball. What do you think of keeper's situation, John?
I just think it's doing money good enough. Kind of need a new goalkeeper in and try and get one at a good standard. Need to pay some money by it, but if they give me the fear, I'm not too bad with Skpe when he's in goals. It's when Barkas is in, he really gives me the fear.
You can't get more chances, can you?
No, I just don't feel comfortable when he's playing.
It's too risky, and like all this talk about Hart has kind of really died out. Like, that just came in really after the Midtjylland game again. Like, but there has been no concrete information really about Joe Hart. Do you get me?
Oh,
you know,
Celtic have spoke to him, and I don't know whether it's maybe he's due money off his Spurs or that, and that's maybe been a bit of a hold for it. But
what do you think of Hart? I think he's kind of.
I spoke to Mikey about him the other day, and I said he wouldn't be my first choice, but I'd take him in a heartbeat. You know, John. That's my.
It's experience what we need, John. Do you know what I mean? Like, Hart is being around, and like what I said in the last podcast earlier, I said to Mark, like, people are questioning him, like, why they bring him in when he's not good on his feet. Now, that was the one area why Pep Guardiola didn't want him as well, all right, because of his foot. But Hart went away to Italy to learn about his footwork and how to play the ball, because the Italians are one of the best countries around for being playing out of the box. Do you know what I mean? So, like, he's learned thing, like, and he's definitely better than what we have. Do you get me? You know, an experience rise is, I think, Mark and John, like, it's what we need. Do you know what I mean? You know?
He's obviously he's 10 times better than what we've got. It's just his last couple of years, and it's been a bit a different club every season. If he's not settled in, just concerns a wee bit. But it's definitely better than what we've got.
I just want to make a thing clear as well, Mark, and you might clear this up for me. People are going on about the Craig Gordon and why Celtic let him go. Celtic didn't let Craig Gordon go. Celtic offered Craig Gordon a deal on a reduced fee that would have been better than Hearts, but at the time they thought Fraser Foster was staying, Mark, and Craig Gordon knew that he wasn't going to be first choice keeper, and that's why Craig Gordon left, because Celtic actually thought the Fraser Foster was a done deal at that time when Craig Gordon left. Like, so it was Craig Gordon who left Celtic and not Celtic who left Craig Gordon.
Aye. Was it Craig Gordon turned down the Celtic contract?
Yes, because it was a juice fee, Mark, and they didn't at that time. Everyone thought Fraser Foster was was going to stay. Like, you know what I mean? Because he did give Celtic the go-ahead that he wanted to stay. Do you know what I mean?
Aye, well,
You know,
I mean, I think it was more today that Gordon, he didn't think he was going to be number one.
number one, yeah, that's
But spoke about even players at Celtic, Beaton again happy enough to sit at the bench,
exactly.
31 rather than thinking,
It just shows the difference that a player wants to play football, Mark, doesn't it?
aye, I mean, but really that's what it should come down to when you get to that age.
That's why I'm like, you can't blame Beaton, Mark, because I'm just throwing him in there. Like, if a player's going to be picked, he's going to want to play. Like, but Beaton now has got into the stage where he's just too comfortable at Celtic. You get me? And I think Beaton would play any position he's told now, Mark, at this stage at Celtic. I say,
Aye,
you know what I mean?
probably.
You know,
He's been in the comfort zone for many years since he's been there now.
he's been
7,
there
I think.
7, 8 years, 7, 8 years, I think. Yeah.
He's won a stack of medals, but he's never really been a main
No,
for us. He's never really nailed down a spot in the team.
was it Mikey that broke it down, Mark? There, and he's only played about nearly half the games that where he should. And Cal McGregor's been at the club less. Do you know what I mean? You know, another player who I noticed as well, who I feel that just isn't up to the level that we need our defence to be. I think Taylor has shown that he can't be our number one left back this season. Constantly being caught out of position, giving the ball away too deeply, always passing the ball side to side, and he's always passing the ball back. He gives the ball away when he's moving forward. If Ange wants to play the way he wants to play, Mark, out from the back, Mark, Taylor, I don't mean to diss Taylor because I'm a big fan of Taylor, Mark, and you know that, Mark, but we can't play the system Ange wants with Taylor in that back line. Like he doesn't have the pace, Mark, to push up on the left wing, Mark, and to get back. Do you know what I mean?
I think you were talking about the other week, that inverted fullback. See, whenever he gets the ball in, he's like a deer in the headlights. He's not got a clue what he's got to do after that. And,
you know, he thinks, Mark, he's passing the ball too much back and too sideways, and that's not. And I've seen it slip in, Mark, again in the last 2 games. This passing the ball side to side and passing the ball back, like, you know, Ange doesn't want to play that way. Do you know what I mean?
I've
You know,
started a bit myself in the last couple of games.
and if you don't have the players, Mark, that are with you to do that, Mark, it's not going to creep out of your games. You get me? And I feel sorry for Taylor, Mark, because Taylor does a job. He does defend.
I think Taylor can learn from Ange and become a better player. I'm not saying he'll ever be a world beater, but he's still young. Do you know what I mean? He's good. And it'll take time. We've seen that. It will take time for Ange to get his system with the players
I think
exactly the way he wants and things.
Taylor's biggest problem, Mark, is
pace.
at pace, lack of pace, and that's always been his. Because if Taylor had pace, Mark, he would be a top defender, and he'd be able to get up and down that ring. But because he's struggling on the Ange, Mark, because of the pace of the game.
You can't somebody, you know what I mean? You're either fast at running or you're no. There's not much you can do about it either way.
And I actually think our left back position, Mark, is more under threat than it is at the moment with Radisson, because Radisson seems to be becoming a better player under Ange. Seriously, he does. You know.
John can answer that.
Ralston.
Aye.
He played well. I thought he played well. He played well on Saturday. Get stuck in though, and I liked how he took his goal. Now, it just had that attitude. He was just driving forward and nothing stopped him. But in terms of first choice, no. But I think he can improve. I just don't think he'll get to the standard we really need to move forward.
Mm-hmm. I think they're the main 3 areas I think that Celtic need to get signings in kind of quickly is a goalkeeper, right back and left back. I think they're the main positions definitely that we need someone in there, Mark.
I'd agree with that. Goalkeeper's becoming a necessity. It really is. It's becoming desperate in there. So.
That's my main concern. That's what I'd go for first, a goalkeeper.
Especially, Mark, when I was telling you that, and John, you were on the podcast at the time when I was talking about Paul Robinson, he said that Celtic will concede goals with either Barkas or Bain in goals, and and he's actually seems to be proven right by what he's saying. Celtic are conceding goals with these two lads. It doesn't matter, I don't think, who we have in front of them. They'll concede goals. Do you get me? That's I think is the main issue, that a goalkeeper really is a must. And it doesn't have to be a young lad, Mark. Like, a keeper can excel, Mark, 32, 33 years of age, and we've seen that across the road with Al McGregor. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I mean, Joe Hart. Joe Hart's, what did we say, 34, coming up in 35. For a year, maybe.
Exactly.
He'll do the job they know. Because as I said, we're getting desperate. We really are. But we've got to, over the next 2 years, find a new, long-term number one. But the thing about that is, as well, you go we're at Celtic, we go and buy a good young keeper like we did with with Forster, and a couple of years later he's away back down to England. Fair dues, we made a lot of money off the deal and things like that, but
this lad,
it's a case of just looking at guys that are 33, 34.
Filled that gap for 2 years, Mark, because
every 2 years just bring in the next 33, 34-year-old.
From what I'm hearing, we do have young keepers in our ranks. I mean, we've a young Irish lad there as well, who actually was signed from Shamrock Rovers as well. I'm not even going to attempt to mention his name, but we have young Ross Doohan as well, Mark, who looks like he could be going out to Tranmere because Mickey Mallon rates him so highly when he was with Dundee United last season. So we have keepers there, Mark, but it seems to be a little bit too early for them to take that step up. Do you get me?
I wouldn't like Celtic today. See what AC Milan done with that Donnarumma and that. I wouldn't fancy Celtic throwing a 16-year-old keeper in and just so that's you, our number one keeper now.
Mm-hmm. But Liam Quinn was saying there, that Doohan is 23, Mark, so he should be really making a step up as well. He should be pushing. That makes my point then. So, Mark, is Ross Doohan actually good enough to be Celtic number one, or are we just not seeing it? You know what I mean? Or,
wouldn't he should be?
Knocking
at the door, asking questions, at that age.
I don't think the likes of Bain and Barkas will improve because of their age. I thought Barkas was much younger, but he's 27, and Bain, John, is 28. At that age, John, they just don't look improving because they're at that age now that they're stuck in these mistakes, I think.
I just think they've reached the level they're at, and I don't think they're going to improve. But the age is goalkeepers got another 10 years in them for that age, so I just don't think they're good enough.
Another thing too.
Barkas will go away somewhere and we'll keep an eye on him, and we'll see videos on Twitter and that, and we'll be like, how could you not have played like that for us?
I think it's just one of the ones, it's just a club, he's just not going to settle, it's just not going to work out, it's just time to go.
A day, John, just thinking.
You see a lot of players doing that, didn't you? Can I go to clubs that doesn't work out?
Just a bad, for one reason or another, it's just a bad transfer. We spoke about, look at Chris Sutton at Chelsea.
Aye, come up here and he was flying up here.
I think Barkas, that's just something along the kind of lines, but he'll get away and do a decent job for somebody.
Same with Pookie, that happened as well, didn't it? He didn't work out from when he moves on.
I think the biggest,
that was his attitude. He said himself, he kind of realised himself he needed a bit of an attitude adjustment. That's when he started becoming a better player.
Aye.
Admitted that he wasn't really 100% in that when he was at Celtic, you know what I mean?
Aye.
Exactly. I think, Mark, the biggest thing about Barkas, Mark, is the fee that Celtic paid for him. Do you know what I mean? That's a lot of money for Celtic to be playing on a goalkeeper. Do you know what I mean? And he hasn't come in and done the job that we expected. And I think that's why there's so much pressure on him to do well as well.
Paid the same kind of money for Encham.
Mm-hmm.
Just
exactly
away for nothing. I know it's a thing altogether, kind of thing. His contract was running down, but I mean, Celtic said that and even Barkas said that he wasn't going anywhere on loan.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know whether that's maybe going to change as well, because I think Ange told me would be number one as long as he wasn't making mistakes, and it's not worked out. So he's not.
I think we can
number one.
Looking in the lines now, that Barkas isn't number one at the moment because of Bain starting starting the weekend's game, which we all knew that Bain was going to start, and because of Barker's blunder in the first leg against Beachland. Like, so I don't think Barker's is actually number one at the moment, and it's more concerning now as well that Bain is actually number one. Do you get me? You know?
Oh, it's like
That,
back to
you know,
what body you want kicked on, Paul. Do you know what I mean?
exactly.
Space
Exactly.
share as each other, isn't it? It's
You know,
a poor thing to say. I mean, as we've said about the Barcast when we saw videos of him on YouTube and things like that. I mean, he did look a good keeper.
mm,
I don't know. It's like a totally different guy. He's turned up at Celtic Park.
exactly. And that seems to be, like, we all thought it was due to the pandemic, maybe him not being out and about, but now a lot of restrictions have been lifted, and he seems to be. It just hasn't worked out, and that's just the end of the story, really. Like, I mean, that it just hasn't worked out for Barkers at Celtic, and unfortunately, I don't think it will now. You know what I mean? That's. I don't think, Mark, we can risk giving Barkers another run of games to see if he's going to come to keep. We can't afford to after losing our first game. Do you get me?
I'll be really surprised if Barkas is still here at the end of the transfer window.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if they'll change their ideas about loaning him out just to get him out the club and out the country, back to Greece or something like that. You know what I mean? But they weren't looking to loan him. But I can't see anybody giving us any serious money for him. Don't know. Maybe a loan with an option to buy next year's more likely.
Mm-hmm. It's unfortunate again that Ange again has to pick players, one not good enough, and again a player who wants to be away and who again showed us that he doesn't actually want to be at Celtic. John is Edward, you know.
It's I'm just playing with half a team now in terms of the players you named after. Like, no what to be there, no good enough. The Edward as well, just take what we can get for him, get him out the door too.
Mm-hmm. Matt, my question to yourself is that does Ayesi actually fit into Ange's plans, that he's not getting a run of games ahead of Edward, or is Ayesi picking up an injury or carrying an injury that we don't know about? Do you know?
Well, I've not heard them getting a knock or anything like that, Paul. I don't understand why he's not giving him a chance. I mean, when was it he came on against Hearts?
In extra time, wasn't this extra time?
Oh, exactly.
No, sorry. It was actually near the end of it. So he came in extra time against Meachland, wasn't it? Yeah.
I come on
and he came in about 10 minutes to go or something against Hearts. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's mind-boggling, like how Edward can stay in the pitch.
I mean, after the shift that you've just watched Edward put in, and it took him that length of time to throw a Yeti on. So he's maybe is carrying a knock, no fit to start, but if it is that, again, it's back to just playing the hand that he's been dealt. So he has to go with Edward. But I mean, against Dundee, if it's not to do with an injury, surely he's going to go with a Yeti up front.
Yeah, John, what's your take on that?
It's a tough one. So obviously, when Edward gets clicked, he can score, but obviously he's not interested. I think obviously with Edward's attitude and stuff like that, he deserves a chance probably to kind of see what he's got. If he's going to put effort in, he's got something about him to get his goals. But it's a tough one, as Mark was saying. He's only playing with the one he's got. So maybe start with that boy we just bought, a Japanese boy, maybe put him up top. Kind of see what he's got about him, get him in the team, get the fitness out of him up as well.
Exactly, because Fukuhashi can actually play across any position, Mark, in the starting lineup.
Anywhere up like 4, and he can play anywhere.
Yeah, he can play as a false number 10 as well for Celtic. Like, you know what I mean? At this stage, like, I'd play anyone up there who we know can play in a shift, Mark, or create goals for other players. Like, but Edward doesn't seem to be doing that for no one. Selfish Edward, we're starting to see again.
But
you know,
but even going back to the thing with Yeti, I've spoken about it. Mikey went on about it a few times as well. He played
captaincy.
I played him in the pre-season games. Gave him the captaincy because of how well he was showing up in training, things like that, and then just kind of blew it.
Yeah, and like one player who we all know has actually made an effort to lose weight. What was it? Yes, we don't know are things going on behind the scenes, or we don't know at the moment why it's Anne's decision, but it's really down to the lack of signings as well, Mark, and options that Ange has at the moment at Celtic, that he has to kind of play these players.
That's that. He's picking a team with players that don't want to be there and aren't good enough. There's really, till there's more bodies come in the door, there's not really much else he can do.
Just moving on from the negatives, like, what positives have you seen from the Hearts game? Like there has been positive. John, I come to yourself first.
Just with the style of play we're trying to play, can I see it? Kind of coming into the team a wee bit, but it's just obviously we've not got the quality to make it kind of take off. I just looks like when he gets it going and he gets his players in, it's going to be very good football we're seeing. I think we'll be turning teams there, but just kind of need to be patient a bit to see who comes in. Other than that, I've not really seen any much more positives. Just the way we started playing, the kind of good attacking football, but still need to wait and see.
Exactly, Mark.
Well, I think that's really that. We can see that he's trying to change things, and we can see what he's trying to do. But again, it's down to who's on the park, whether it's working or not. But I mean, we totally dominated the game the other night. There's no question about that, possession and things like that. But it doesn't win you games. But we made a lot of good chances to win it. We should have just, again, stupid mistakes cost us. It really was. That's what we want. We're going about what we need to do with the defence now. We need to just cut out stupidness.
Exactly.
The defending at that first goal against Starfield didn't cover himself in glory, and you're thinking to yourself, Jesus, wait, man.
That's what I thought. I thought we got another Shane Duffy there. I was thinking that. I was like, no, please. But as you said earlier, he started coming into the game a bit and kind of showing he's got a wee bit about him. So just hopefully it was just kind of first game there a wee bit.
Aye, just actually finding his feet on a park, team and things like that. But
he
did improve, and I think there's a lot better to come for him. Do you know what I mean? But just across the board, silly, stupid mistakes seem to cost us.
I think Starfield too was playing more left back as well, covering Taylor a lot in the game as well. I noticed that he was covering Taylor a lot in the game.
Really kind of came.
And that's when they opened up. That's when they opened up as well, Mark. So, like, if you don't have players next year who are able to do their job, like, it's going to drag you away from that position. No fair juice to Starfield for noticing that he had to cover for Taylor as well, like, but
it's like
he shouldn't be doing that, like, you know what I mean?
It's like what we said about McGregor last year covering for.
Yeah, and that's an area, Mark, that we don't need our centre backs to be doing. That they have to go out and cover for wing backs when they're pushing for that they're not able to get back. We can't afford to be doing that next season.
It'll be Sorrow that's going to cover that.
That has to be questioned in, because I've picked out Zorro as well, Mark. I've questioned now, is he the natural replacement for Scott Brown?
No, he's not that. Once you see him, he's a totally different type of player for Scott Brown.
You know,
kind of later on Scott Brown. Do you know what I mean? Him that McGregor needed to cover for, but he's not.
Yeah.
He needs to wind his neck in a bit with some of his tackles as well. I think he could end up getting a few bookings this year.
But seems very rash.
Aye, I mean, he's
a young lad.
Aye, that's the thing about it, and you can see that he is a good player. He's just needing the rough edges kind of polished off him again. Ange's a man to do that, hopefully.
I think coached well into it, will start kind of cutting that out and learning to time his tackles better, and again he'll just take the ball clean instead of obviously bringing players down and causing free kicks.
Hey, blue boots.
Aye. I get him away, man.
Somebody else had blue boots on the other night as well. I felt like putting my foot through the telly.
Moving on to the next topic, and again, it has started early this season, earlier than expected. The refereeing decisions again have to be called, Mark. But Bobby Madden again had a shocking game against Celtic. And Mark, do you want to comment on the referee decisions?
Oh, atrocious. I mean, I'm not using them as an excuse. Do you know what I mean? Hearts beat us again, month and one. I'm not blaming the referees for that, but the performance was shocking. that challenge for Halliday on McGregor, that's a red card every day of the week. That's a red card.
And especially when you
McGregor's a
have,
bit. On you go, mate.
sorry, especially when you see Michael Stewart, like a former Hearts player, saying it was a red card all day long as well. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's what I like about Michael Stewart. Like, he's not biased. Do you know what I mean? He says it as it is on the pitch, and he said clearly that that's a red card. Do you know what I mean? And it just shows that Celtic are really up against it again this season against referees.
I don't think anybody could honestly say that wasn't a red card and mean it. Do you get what I mean?
Exactly. It was meant.
The only people that would probably say it wasn't a red card would be Hearts fans and Rangers fans.
Mhm.
You show
And even at that,
any Clipper fan in the world and they're going to tell you that's a red card.
John,
At Christoph Berra, he says it as well, didn't he? So it was a red card. Went for
even-
Hearts last season.
it's not just that, like poor linesman decision as well, like the offside, like clearly onside Aberdeen was. Do you know what I mean? It just wasn't an offside altogether. Do you know what I mean? Like, or this
I mean, they said
standards of referee mark is just shocking again.
your arm can't be offside.
Mhm.
It's got to be a part of your body that you can legally connect with the ball with.
Like that's.
So your arm can't be offside. And that's what
Mhm.
they went with, that his arm was offside. And that's basic rules, Paul. Do you know what I mean? That's basic rules a lineman ought to be picking up on.
So what do Celtic do? Like, so I'm thinking now, like, do the Celtic players actually surround the referee when these decisions are being made? To maybe 3 or 4 players surround the referee and taking out the referee there and then? Do we start doing that as a team?
No, wouldn't get down that road. That's just giving them excuses to pull out cards.
Mm-hmm. Or is it up to?
Well, we've said it before, it shouldn't be up to Celtic to come out and challenge this stuff. Do you know what I mean? I spoke about it, the Aki's manager last season spoke about it, and then he got into bother with SFA or SPL for saying the referee a shot.
Yeah, that was my next point, because he got a ban mark. It was the 3 or 4 games, I think he got that time. Like, so is it up to the CEO of Celtic maybe to come out and
It needs to be
question this?
It needs to be a collective kind of movement, if you want to call it that. That it's not just Celtic that's because they didn't win the league now they want to take on the referees and stuff like that. It's not to do with that. It's about actually they keep going on about the standards of the game and things like that. I've seen somebody from Rangers in the paper saying that the TV deal they went in and they undersold the game and all this pattern that. But who want to watch a game with decisions like that?
Exactly. See, that's my main concern. Like, that is it happens so early in the season that we already seen bad tackles again on Celtic players going without bookings or even sending offs. Now, what I was reading was that because Bobby Madden gave the free kick, and that the people were saying that he was cute in giving the free kick, because then he can't be questioned on his decision. Right, I gave the free kick. Well, you're on about, do you get me? You know?
Can I do that next time? Once he's seen it or something, he's dealt with it.
Exactly, he's dealt with it, like, and that's why no kind of things can come into it. Like, so Bobby Madden as well was cute in his way, Mark, in giving that decision as the free kick, but not to give a booking or a thing, Mark. It's like, and it's going to be a long season for Celtic against the referees. I think mostly against the road. Celtic should be in a position, Mark, in losing games because of referees, because as you said, Mark, the game should have been over by then. Celtic should have had that game wrapped up. But see, these decisions are going to cost us in games.
But see, if Ange or anybody's going to come out with that, we can't just do it when we get beat.
No, we have to call it up, Mark, when we're winning as well.
Even if you win, you say we won that game, but the referee a shot. I think Ange is the type of guy that will come out and say things like that. He doesn't seem to mince his words.
No, right. No, go on.
Just got to say, if people try to be a smart arse with him, he's just as much a smart arse back with him. Was it the boy from the BBC the other day kind of put a wee dig at? So I think I wouldn't be surprised if fans comes out and maybe press conference and even mentions something, just even solely about that tackle on McGregor. I'd like to see one of these the fans groups that get to talk to him. I'd like to one of them even ask him that kind of question. without getting into conspiracy theories and things like that, just what was your opinion on that decision on that?
Exactly, because
What was your
you
opinion,
see that
what was your opinion on the offside? The offside.
you see that down and you see that down in the Premier League. Do you know what I mean? The commentators would ask him that down in the Premier League. So why aren't Sky Sports commentators asking Celtic that in the Scottish League? Do you get me?
Oh,
You know?
no, that's how I'm saying it. Get one of the Celtic fans that are allowed in. Get one of them to ask them these kind of questions. As I said, not getting into the full conspiracy theory, the Masons and all that, but just the
Exactly.
specific incidents. What was your
Exactly.
What was your opinion on them?
Like, if we're going to have Beeson in the first team, and if Beeson's going to get caught for pace and he's going to put a player back or be stupid in a tackle because he doesn't have the fitness, or we're going to have Zorro who sometimes goes rashly into to a tackle mark, Celtic are going to get red cards definitely in the season next season. You know.
Well, I just said that about Sorrow. I can see him picking up a few cards this year.
Mm-hmm. You know, but at the moment, there's going to be nothing changing within the Scottish FA market regarding referees, because if nothing's being done by the Scottish FA, nothing is going to be changed with the referee standards in Scotland. And I don't know how they can see that the standards as refereeing is up to scratch in Scotland.
We've spoken about it before.
Yeah.
I think even with John, I know we spoke about it with Mikey. For me, the referee should be come for UEFA.
Mm-hmm.
You come for a country, you shouldn't be refereeing a game. It might be different down in the lower leagues kind of idea, but you should pass a UEFA test to become a referee, and then you go on their roster, and that's your full-time job. You fly all different countries refereeing games, but you don't referee any games in your own country. Did any Scottish referees do the Euros?
No, but that just shows back that they're not picked.
Exactly. Yeah, the Scottish team's there, but none of our referees get took on. Sorry, what were you going to say there?
I was going to say that was the idea you were saying. That's a good idea, obviously, just all the rest of different countries in it, go to all the different countries, so there's obviously no bias for the rest in it. So obviously,
they still do it at levels, John. No, I mean, like if you're from Scotland, you're not getting sent, or unless you pass the exam. Do you get what? Unless you pass it, to be able to do it in like the big 5 leagues or whatever you want, you don't get a job in them. Do you know what I mean? So Scotland, maybe the Scottish refs are getting sent out to places like Holland and Belgium, Sweden and things like that, but we're getting Dutch refs and Swedish refs into referee our games in the top league.
Definitely, that's an idea.
The money UEFA's making out of the football, surely they can. Do you get what I mean? Surely they can afford to implement that kind of system. Even see the money that the SFA and that's paying into the referees, just to pay to UEFA to cover their kind. That's their wee chip into the cause.
Every league puts something in a pot, and UEFA just deals with it. Putting refs here and putting refs there.
Again, don't they? The Premier League they'll be paying, I don't know, millions of pounds a year to the referees probably. So they put the millions into the UEFA pot. We put in the million or whatever we're paying a year. We just put that million in and just work it. I mean, it's not no rocket science really. If a fucking tit like me can come up with it, John, know what I mean?
That's it. But do you think if people that's running Scottish football want things like that to happen, or do you think they're just happy with the way it is? The refs are just want to keep it that way. Maybe they want to see change in it, or maybe they want to.
Scottish football just ran on like status quo. There's no ambition whatsoever in Scottish football. On a whole. I mean, Celtic and Rangers, we can all argue and bang on about the Champions League and that, but we get to the Champions League and we're whipping boys in it. We're only there for the money. Do you know what I mean? Basically, we're hooring ourselves out for a scalping. Do you know what I mean? But geez, £30. We get beat 7-1 with Paris Saint-Germain. We get beat 6-9 with Barcelona. It doesn't matter. Look at the money in the bank. That's the outlook of Scottish football. There's no long-term. We've started moaning about it with Celtic, but even Scottish football, there's no long-term planning or looking at different ways to improve the game as a whole. They're just quite happy to just plod along, getting the scraps for the table for Sky and just plodding along their wee own bubbly stupidness.
It's definitely like scrap Sky gears, isn't it? It's something like 30 million a season we get.
Is it even as much as that?
You get 50 million in England for getting relegated. It just shows you into the golf, innit?
Aye, that's their kind of payment. They've got all the money they get throughout the season for the amount of times they're on the telly and things like that.
Aye.
I mean, it's like the Championship playoff. That's the richest one-off game of football anywhere in the world. The winner of that makes more money than the World Cup winners or anything. Champions League winners a lot. That the playoff to get into the Premier League.
I remember years ago I was reading when Celtic went to Seville in the Europa League Cup run and Rangers won the title that season. I think they did a double that season, and Celtic actually made money on the Europa League one that Rangers did by winning the league mark. That's what I was reading years ago, and that like so. You know, like there's not much big money really in the Scottish League, is there?
No.
You know,
And the people running it are never going to do anything
not going to invest it.
to drive it on. I mean that. Who's the boxing promoter? His dad, Hearn, is it a Hearn? Or just
Eddie Hearn or something, innit? Aye, Eddie Hearn.
He done a talk once and spoke about it. Spoke about like how it's Scotland, the Scottish League. There's no kind of PR to kind of get a wee bit of razzmatazz and get people interested in it and things like that.
Well, hopefully, though, Mark, with this new deal in America, that it might get it some exposure. Now that's being viewed in America by CBS, that was a big contract for the SPL to get that deal. Do you know what I mean? You know?
Did it come out how much that was worth?
No, still nothing on how much it was worth. You know?
I mean, see, for all you know, Paul, they'll be lucky if it's £1 million the way the Scottish game's been run.
Mm-hmm.
It's all these old dinosaurs and jobs for the boys, like the old bowling club committees and that. It's all that kind of mob that runs your game, and it's like
Exactly.
Celtic, they're needing to get people in to kick up and come in with new ideas, things to better the game, help make the game more appealable. Is that a word, appealable?
Like what they're doing down in England, like, do you know what I mean? Like they're constantly changing who's on the board down in the Premier League, the chief executives and stuff like that. They're constantly changing that along there, Mark, because they're constantly bringing in fresh ideas. Do you get me?
Aye.
You know?
Another thing that holds us back up here is Celtic Rangers just on it. See, at boardroom level, Celtic Rangers are just quite happy plodding along at the same level as well.
Yeah,
See,
exactly.
See like Dominic Mackay getting into the SFA or SFPL and saying blah blah blah. I done this at the rugby and this really caught. Do you know what I mean? It's just something that worked in rugby.
They'd laugh him out the door, Mark.
Aye, either it would come down to, oh no, we're not doing that, and then it would be a case of, oh, that's got Rangers didn't want Celtic to do that. Do you get what I mean? That's the kind of way things run, and
Exactly.
we need to get by all that as well.
It seems to be like, oh no, Rangers aren't going to go ahead with that because Celtic came up with that decision, or Celtic won't do that because Rangers came up with that decision. That's the way it kind of was in the Scottish League, Mark, all the time, wasn't it?
Really,
you know.
Then it was a case of like Peter Lowe left the SFA or SFPL board, whatever it was, and the Rangers guy took over for 2 years, and then he left, and Peter Lowe took over for 2 years. It's just nothing's changing. It's just wee hat tips and another job and another salary. Nobody's actually working to improve anything.
I suppose we can say like that. Like, well, I was saying that Celtic hasn't moved with the modern times of the game and stuff like that. But in a way, when you look at it, like Celtic was only moving the way the Scottish football was moving, Mark, and it could have been that the Scottish football wasn't moving in the right direction to modernise the game, and Celtic were just falling into the same category because they were under the Scottish FA. No,
when you listen to like Jonas and that talk about Dundee United, Paul.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Dundee United would have been more than likely to kind of fall into a wee kind of SFA kind of rut in a club like Celtic's resources. If clubs like Dundee United, St Mirren can sort themselves out.
Exactly.
Again, it's just needing some new ideas to come in and change things a bit.
Exactly.
All this, every year people talk about league reconstruction and things like that. I don't know if that's the answer. I don't know what live chat or John thinks about that. What do you think, John?
League reconstruction. Try something. You need to try something. You were saying to try and kick it on and make it more interesting. Would you think about putting more teams in also the top league?
See, that's what I was just going to say there. This playing each other 4 times a season is rotten. And see all this about 4 Old Firm games and whatever they advertise, that's a lot of nonsense.
It's taken the whole voice of the Glasgow Derby, hasn't it?
But not just that, Paul. That can't have been a TV contract when you've got a split in your league.
Exactly.
Basically, what you're doing is match fixing there.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think it's going to happen, but what if Celtic or Rangers didn't finish in the top 6? They wouldn't get the four derbies. So that's all. And it's even at that, just, well, fine. Just a stuff, no, but this is how we're going to run our game. If you don't want to pay money to show it, we'll find somebody else that will. That's basically all you do. Don't be touting the TV companies for buttons. Do you get what I'm saying? See if they were giving us the kind of money they're giving England, fair dues. Do you get what I mean? You'd have Scottish football jumping through hoops. They'd be playing games at 2 o'clock in the morning if they were getting that kind of money. But no, for what we're getting, we shouldn't be letting them dictate to us how our games run.
Exactly, because that seems to be the way Mark has been dictated how the game is being run. Moving on to the next topic, and it brings us nicely, because of poor ref decisions and our players and our young players at risk of serious injuries because of bad tackles and bad referee decisions. Do Celtic need a no-nonsense midfielder for the likes of Peter Grant, Alan Thompson, Neil Lennon, Scott Brown? Someone who won't let the players be victim of a poor challenge, someone who will stand up to the referee, someone who will give these tackles himself, someone who's basically a young Scott Brown, Mark, a young Neil Lennon, a young Peter Grant, a tough player.
30-year-old James McCarthy.
I think James McCarthy is that, Mark. I don't think he'd be going in harshly tackles that Zoe will be. He'll time his tackles and he'll time them well. Do you know what I mean? You know, someone.
McCarthy would do a job for us here and now. For me,
exactly.
They've made a category as Joe Hart.
But he's not the answer long term.
No,
you get me?
Oh, definitely.
But that's what I'm saying. Like at the moment, Mark, Celtic look like a team, Mark, who will be bullied on the park. I think looking at it, we've no one there with a bit of a bite in our first team. Like, do you know what I mean? We've seen, and I fear that this current Celtic team will be getting bullied on the thing. And I think McCarthy would stand for no crap like that if he came in. I think the deal is kind of nearly done. I think. You know, with James McCarthy.
Some people are saying it's already done, it's just waiting to get announced, but I heard that before, but
exactly.
John got a bit, do you know, didn't you?
What, Mark?
With McCarthy.
Aye, just obviously my cousin's texted earlier, he kinda saying he kinda knows somebody, it's obviously why they ones, and so it's supposed to be a done deal, it's kinda already been done and stuff, so it's why they ones just texted and told us, so I'll not believe it until obviously till I see him with the staff above his seat.
See, that's it. We can't kind of read too much into it, Mark, because we've heard it all before, didn't we?
You know, every summer.
But is that the type of player that we need, Mark?
Definitely.
You know,
experience in Premier League. I mean, I don't know. People seem to have this thing about being injury prone. There's only one bad injury, and that was about 2 years ago, is it no?
His last 2 seasons, he played over 50 games for Crystal Palace his last 2 seasons, and I think out of the 2 seasons he'd probably only play about 70 games or something, 60.
So I don't know where this thing about him being injury prone is, but I mean, even at that, we spoke about it as well. We play enough games, Paul.
Exactly.
We can rotate these players, do you know what I mean? You don't need to be playing 50 games a season for us.
Exactly. I just think
another player for me, like Joe Hart, it came in and does a job. And although I've always liked James McCarthy if he was at Hamilton, do you know what I mean? I'm delighted if it comes off for him, kind of thing. But it would be my first choice. It would have been a few years back, but he would have been my first choice now. But he's one of these players that he's at that level. He'll come in and he'll hit the ground running. He'll not need time to bed in, do you know what I mean? Joe Hart will swagger into swagger into the changing room and be Joe Hart, and he'll not need time to settle in. McCarthy would be the same kind of signing, and it would bolster up the midfield.
I think that is just the player that we need, Mark, because like someone to give Cal McGregor a hand being captain as well, like, because the Celtic team is really lacking leaders. Do you know what I mean? Like an experienced player to give Cal McGregor a hand. Like, Cal McGregor can't watch the whole game, like, but if he has someone behind him like James McCarthy, someone who is experienced, Mark, he could organise that defence as well, or organise these young players. Do you know what I mean? And let Cal McGregor then do what he has to do as well. Like, do you know what I mean?
That is one of the things, Paul. We have got a young team, which is a good thing. We moan about
Exactly.
no even young players, but when you look at it, a lot of our first team are what you would consider young players.
Mm-hmm.
So you will need to like put experience in there somewhere. And I said it, is that why Beaton's been getting a game, because he's so-called
experience.
Things, but
it hasn't been paying off though, has it? His experience.
Guys like McCarthy would do numerous jobs. Do you know what I mean? Not just to play inside, even there. Liam on the live chat talking about standards again. He's coming in and used to Premier League standards, so he'll be training it to get what I mean. That rubs off on other players, and
exactly.
Joe Hart, players can learn for these guys that have played down in England for years.
No, I was reading as well that Celtic had the chance to sign him.
I'm not his agent either.
I know. I was reading as well.
McCarthy.
I think he's a good player, and he's definitely going to add something to the team. And as you said, standards as well. He can be higher standards too, can I show an example, get players to up their standards. And he's a free transfer as well, so it makes sense to me. I think obviously supported Celtic's a boy too, so I think they're going to take a lot of convincing for him to come. He's 30 now. He's made all his money down there. He's played down there.
And he's at a good age as well. Like, he's not old. Like, he's 30. Like, he's 30 years of age, Mark. Like he's still able to get around the pitch, like James McCarthy and stuff like that. It's not if he's coming in like a 35-year-old player. Do you know what I mean?
Probably if he stays fit, you could get a good 3 or 4 year out of James McCarthy. Again, maybe not playing every week, but having him there. I mean, even imagine, like, even we know the type of player he is. Imagine the difference he would make in the midfield in the derby games.
Someone with a bite, Mark. I mean, that's what we need, that we don't have. Like, and like,
don't know who said it there. Somebody said the midfield is powder puff. It is.
It is.
I mean, McGregor doesn't mind a tackle, but he's a bit in the tackling as well. But he doesn't mind doing a wee bit of the physical side of the game.
And I think Zorro too could learn off McCarthy as well, Mark, in timing and stuff like that. Not turning side Zorro.
No, but
Zorro, sorry.
Turnbull's not exactly the most physical player, isn't he?
No, and that's why we need someone like James McCarthy to come in. Like, Zorro would learn off McCarthy as well, like in tackling, and he's reading up the game as well. Like, because I've noticed too, like, Zorro is caught too in no man's land as well, Mark, a few times. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's young, Mark, and he's like, basically, like, Zorro should have been in the squad last season, so he wouldn't be in this position now. Do you know what I mean?
He's probably about a year behind in his kind of development. Because he didn't. We saw flashes of what he could do last season. We know there's a decent player in there. I said a bit rough around the edges, but he'll learn. But he should have been a lot further along in his learning curve by now. Just again, Scott Brown just took his place back for, and the guy's done nothing wrong. That's what really. That's for me. That's kept Sorrow's progression back, Paul. I'll say that. Just the way that Scott was always playing if he was fit and available.
Exactly. I'm just hearing there that Aston Villa are looking at Luke O'Connell. That's what I'm just reading there. I was just reading that Luke O'Connell, Aston Villa. Yeah, I'm just reading that there now. So they actually must have saw something in Luke O'Connell, Mark, that he's not getting the game, and his agent has come out saying that he's looking at his options at the moment because he's not getting a chance at Celtic.
See, that's what you asked for. Some man should be coming in and telling these young guys, look, just think about you'll get your chance once my squad's in place.
And Like that's another.
Yeah, again, you can't blame these young guys. We've spoken
No.
about it, but we're hoping this was all going to change when.
Yeah. That's a bit of a balls there now, like, because
I
I big hopes for Luke O'Connell.
I was really looking forward to seeing him playing for Celtic, to be honest.
And if Aston Villa are going to be sniffing around the market, and if his agent is coming out saying he's looking at his option, that means now that his agent is actually looking around for him.
Eh?
Jeez, maybe, never know. But I was also reading today that
I replaced
Celtic
for
were,
Grealish.
Mark, that we were in a position to sign James McCarthy 2 years ago, but Peter Lord refused to put a loan deal to Everton at the time. So, like, we could have got James McCarthy maybe 2-3 years ago, and it came down to Peter Lord not giving that money that he was valued at.
There's umpteen times we could have seen McCarthy other years, Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Time he was available on loan or on transfer, he would have probably came to Celtic. And
Even that time when he was at Hampton, like you said, Mark, wasn't it? Was he at Hampton years ago?
Hamilton, but see, because he chose to play for the Republic, he took dogs abuse, Paul,
Mm-hmm.
every away ground. It was shocking, the grief he got for a young. He was 16-year-old at the time, Paul.
That's when he broke him, wasn't it? At 16. And James McCarthy, they two in the middle together.
But it just went. It was see anywhere he was playing, it was poisonous for him, for a young boy. You can't. I think, gee, then he didn't fancy the move to Celtic because he just thought it would even be worse for him.
Yeah, exactly. Would you blame him? Yeah.
His dad was sitting in the stand, proud as sponge for a boy playing. Do you know what I mean? And all
Yeah.
total vile abuse about stuff. See, you can't blame him for going to England then, but I think as he grew up, and I think he would have been able, kind of died a death.
I think he would. Yeah, he would have known. He knows now, Mark, how to deal with all that kind of stuff. Now it'll just fly off his head, all this abuse that maybe he'll get going up to Scotland. Like, James McCarthy isn't the young lad anymore. Like, he'd be able to take all this abuse. He know what he's coming into, Mark, being a Celtic supporter as well. Like, do you know what I mean?
And he knows he's not going to get near as much abuse as James McLean. Do you know what I mean? It's not that kind of level.
Exactly. So if it's done, I think we're all in agreement that it's a signing that Celtic need at the moment. It's kind of a no-brainer that Celtic need, but I have to put a question mark into it, because is he an Ange signing? Because, Mark, we were led to believe at the start of the transfer window that Ange told him, that Celtic board, that he didn't want James McCarthy, that he favoured Aaron Moy. So, again, we're going to...
I thought you were going to say he was a ginger.
Huh? Being Scottish, it wouldn't surprise me.
That's my only concern about it. He's a ginger.
But that's the question there, Mark. Isn't this? Is this an Ange signing, or is this a Celtic board signing? And are this?
Maybe Ange has seen what he's got, Paul. They thought,
I actually need him.
Aye, McCarthy would do a job for us. I mean, as he said the other night, Paul, he's not been living in the moon. He's watched football for
Exactly.
You'll know. I mean, McCarthy.
And of course, these are more reports too, Mark, that came up with Aaron Moy as well. Like, we were not led to believe that this actually happened. That Ange actually said this to the Celtic board. Do you get me?
Oh,
do you know what I mean?
I mean, I think it would be silly for any manager to just, if you've got, you see whether it is even down to Dermot Desmond saying, "Do you want this player? I'll make sure you get this player."
Exactly.
Do you get what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. If Ange just went and looked and says, McCarthy would really do a job for us, and it would even, we're not paying a transfer fee, so it leaves money in the transfer pot, whatever.
And I think we can actually get James McCarthy now, because Peter Lord isn't there, that we actually have a better chance to get James McCarthy now than we did in previous years, Mark.
Do you think that's maybe having Champion freed to kind of free up his wage from the McCarthy wage? Kind of straight swap maybe?
Aye, that's good thinking, John. Aye.
It's just also
Is that why they didn't extend Encham's contract, you think, Mark, by next year? That they maybe talked about James McCarthy, and look, we can get him, like, he's going to commit for 2-3 years to Celtic, like, and this fella does want to be here. Why are we giving him an extra year? Do you get me?
Aye, I never gave that a thought. That's a good idea. And Cham,
Makes
then if Crystal Palace are in for Christie as well.
because at the moment
That's aimed at
Cham is with no club, like, and what I thought too was disrespectful from Cham when we were playing our game was it the weekend, and he was there. He was over and watching a friendly with Marseille with all his buddies.
No,
Do you know what I mean?
he knew
Exactly.
I knew then he wasn't a Celtic player. He was just waiting probably on the kind of finalisation, getting signed off or something like that. Paul,
I'm delighted. I'm delighted. And Chan was gone, Mark. I really am, like, because one, he didn't want to be here, and like all this crap. Then I heard then like that he wanted to be here he wanted to stay for another season, and I think that's only Celtic pleasing and Cham. Do you know what I mean? You know, getting a chance to find a club that he wants, and it's the same with Edouard. I don't want Edouard to be staying another season. Celtic pleasing Edouard. It's going back. It's the same situation between Encham and Edouard. We're there to please them. Like, no, we're not. Do you get me?
Well,
you know.
Even Ange and Mackay both sat there and said they'll do what's the best for Celtic Football Club.
Exactly.
As having Edouard in the team, is that for the Celtic Football Club?
No, definitely no.
No,
well, see,
Mackay be telling his agent, look, get this deal, whether it's Brighton, whoever it's with, get this deal finalised. You know what we want, get it done.
Exactly. Sorry, lads, I just taking a drink of water. So, before we move on to next game against Jablonce, John, is there anything you want to bring up that we discussed before we move on to the next preview of the match?
No, just kind of covered everything there.
Coffee. So,
it's hard to get him to shut up in it, Paul.
Oh, is that a wee bit you put in, a wee 20-minute talk bit?
Yeah.
Alright, I just all my concerns about it. Celtic, it's just the goalkeeper's a big concern, isn't it? I just hope we get that done quite soon. And just obviously the last few years for the team we've had, they've kind of seemed to be kind of downsizing. It just obviously it's getting less and less quality, and kind of seems to looks like the board of kind of orchestrating it a bit. So they want to kind of downsize and get any wages doing and stuff like that, and they're kind of happy with mediocrity, doing it. Kind of not to kind of push on for titles and that.
I think it's no harm as well that the squad is downsized, because our squad was way too big. Like we were signing players just for the sake of it, really, at some stage, like who weren't going to come in and improve the squad as well, John, weren't we? You know?
Definitely. But yeah, looking at it, have they got a plan in action? Because they keep saying they're getting into modern football and building obviously a club for the future. And you can kind of see a lot of young boys all coming in. We've signed about 4 or 5 in the last month. Kind of planning that way, just going to bring a lot of youth in. Because Ange likes to obviously play with youth and obviously kind of improve players. Are they going to go that way, or the youth and kind of build a squad? In like about 2-3 years' time, it's going to take that way to get it a proper squad, challenging. So that's my kind of concern. Are they going to kind of put a bit of money into this and bring first team ready players in? It's going to make an impact right away.
But you don't think I've kind of done that in a way, John? I know we're still struggling for players. We still need certain positions and that, but you're quite happy with the signings we've already made.
Aye, I'm kind of Starfield worried a wee bit the first 10 minutes, but as you said, it's the game at only kind of seen he's got something, he's kind of picking up a wee bit, and so that's just hopefully first game theirs. And this new guy we've got up front, for his come out, the pedigree and that, and the way he was there, the goals he's scoring, it kind of looks like we've got a good wee talent here. Abada looks good, but he just kind of looks still raw. So I'm just kind of hoping, obviously, now we push on that better signings come in, obviously good ones that's going to come in and make an impact right away.
I think what I'd like to see as well, John and Mark, is I'd like to see Liam Shaw in Zorro's position and see what he can actually do there. Is he going to be, because he looks more physical than Zorro. I'd like to see some of our new signings getting a chance, like Urahidi getting a chance, Liam Shaw getting a chance. You know, and just basically see are they actually better than what we have? Do you get me?
Well, we need disrespect to Dundee. Maybe we could try that this weekend. It's back to the same old story, Paul. These young players make a mistake in a game against Dundee.
Exactly.
And the support's on their back.
Exactly.
Basically, I mean, Dundee's got it's a kind of must-win game.
Oh, definitely, and
Yeah, you
not just the Dundee. Like our next game, Mark, is a must-win game. Like because like our Europa League campaign hasn't been too nice to Celtic. Like we have AC Alsmore's next if we beat John back. You know, what I mean, it's a tough run we have in Europe as well, Mark. If we progress, like you know what I mean. You know.
that'll be a tough game that against the Dutch if we get through.
You know, like so. Moving on, like and that's our next topic is our next game. Celtic's next compressor game is against Johnback on Thursday. An early kick-off, that means that's the rules of Europa League. It mightn't suit Celtic, it mightn't suit some, but 4:45. Mark, like, Ange really needs to get Celtic winning to leave some pressure off this squad. And this next game, on paper, it looks like a game that Celtic could be winning, but at the moment, we don't take nothing for granted at Celtic at the moment.
No, it's one of the ones, isn't it? To be quite honest, I never heard of them, Paul. I never heard of this team.
I've never heard of them either, but my concerns is that, and you spoke to yours as well the last podcast, Mark, like these are unknown teams, Mark, who could be well organised.
That's exactly what I'm going to say. They'll be like clouds, team fair and back.
Yeah.
You'll be like them, well drilled, well organised, good at set pieces, know how to defend. For me, it'll be that kind of game. I'll be up to us to try and break them down.
John, do you want to come in?
I'm the same. I've never heard of them. I don't know anything about them and kind of how good a team we are. But I'm sure you've got to get and respect them. And obviously, we are past results here. Obviously, we need to get and respect them and not treat them as mugs. So we need to go on a run. We need to go on a run quick. It has to be a good run, a good 10-15 game run. I'd say we can't lose any games in that at all.
They're that Jablonce only have 7 coefficient points less than Aberdeen.
It's a team, Mark, we should be beating. Like, do you know what I mean? But it's good to say a thing like, but considering how Ange hasn't a team playing at the moment where he wants, and how Celtic are lacking in certain positions, like we highlighted at the start of the podcast, like our goal positions or left back positions, we still need another centre back. Like Edward is not scoring the goals we need him to be scoring. Like you have to have some worry going into this game, like that Celtic are still kind of unprepared, you know.
Oh, definitely not a given. I'm not 100% confident beating them. I wouldn't be 100% confident Celtic beating anybody, to be honest, Paul. But your heart rules your head. I still think they will. I think we will beat them, but it's not just a formality that we turn up. We need to work for this. And I'd like to think that even if we can get Joe Hart in, we can get him in as a wild card to play in the game.
Exactly. I think if Hart did come in, that he'd definitely be a must for me to start. Like, you know what I mean? Because we will concede goals, and I think we concede goals every game with either Barkas or Bain in goals. I think we'll concede them all the time, Mark. And I think Paul Robson's point about Celtic goalkeepers is he's starting to be proven right. Do you get me? You know,
we're not confident in any keepers. It's turned out to be the ultimate, the main weak link in the team.
It's just not breeding confidence in the back four, Mark. The goal. That's what I'm kind of looking at. You know what I mean?
When your goalkeeper and your 2 centre back positions are the most vulnerable in your team, you're going to have problems.
Exactly.
No, I mean that's basically but the goalkeeper. We spoke about that enough, but the kind of mixing and matching his centre backs, that's not helping things either. Having somebody Beaton playing in there, that's not helping things.
We've done enough of that last season. We need to get a settled back two in there. A settled goalkeeper behind them as well.
Yeah. Welch needs to, because like Welch and Dane Murray really did nothing wrong in the second leg of the Michelin game, did they? You know what I mean? They played well. Like the two lads, but again, it was just down to bad goals being given away by Celtic. Like Welsh has done nothing wrong to be dropped.
I mean, see if Welsh had started on Saturday night, Starfelt just coming into the team and that would have made like Welsh like the main man in the defence.
Yeah. And I think maybe Ange wanted to take him out of the firing line, Mark, and stuff like that, protecting him.
Put Beaton in, thinking his experience and things like that, but just backfired again.
Exactly. You know, it's like, do we actually start with Welch? I think another area that needs to be played, I think Montgomery needs to start instead of Taylor, up and down that left wing. I think Montgomery has the legs to do it. He showed us in numerous times he can do it. You know, I think Taylor needs to come out of that starting lineup as well.
So back four, you know? Ralston, Welsh,
Starfelt, Montgomery. Mm-hmm.
With Bain in goal.
It's bad, like, but I think that's our best option.
I would play that wrong boy Montgomery a chance. Because he kind of seems he's got a bit about him, as you say, he's got the pace in that team. The way we're playing, we need that back wing. I'd give him a wee chance as well.
Like, another question too, like I want to put you, like, what's the deal with Bonangoli? Is he staying? Is he not staying? Is he fit? Is he unfit? That's another player we're actually hearing nothing about at the moment, and why is he getting a game? Has he been on the bench? I know he was carrying the knock, but he was on the bench for the pre-seasons, and he was on the bench for the Champions League qualifiers, wasn't he, Bonangoli?
I was on the bench the other week,
You know,
I don't know what's happening with him. I take it his agent's still trying to find him a move.
You know, I think that's maybe why Ange is not playing him. Maybe he wants a move. He doesn't want to be playing, but then we're back to the same question then, like, why is Edouard playing? Do you get me? Like, Griffiths is out injured with a calf injury as far as I know, like, so I think he's going to go Edouard again at the on Thursday.
No, I said that earlier. I think he'll be Edouard that will start. Just simply, you know, because it probably is our best chance of a goal.
Exactly. Like, I'm looking at the month of August, and it's not an easy month for Ange and for Celtic. And if we don't start winning, Celtic could be out of the Europa League. We could be down in the Conference League, and Celtic could end up being behind Rangers, Aberdeen already, Mark, so early in the season. Like, Thursday the 5th we have Jablonce, we have Sunday we've Dundee at home, Thursday the 12th we've Jablonce at home, Sunday the 15th we've Hearts again in the League Cup, Thursday the 17th we have AC Almos if we do progress, and then on Sunday the 22nd we're away to Rangers. It's a tough month, and there's a lot of games in the month of August because of the Europa League qualifiers that Celtic now win, like, and there's not much rest time between Thursday and Sunday either, Mark. Do you get me? You know?
Well, just one of these things. We've done it for years, but Paul played Thursday, Sunday. So, again, the professional football players, we should have a squad to be able to deal with that.
Do you think there is points to be get, like, surely because we have enough time to be beating Dundee? Do you get me? You know, I think
I'd like to think so, but if it's earlier on, would you be 100% confident Celtic beating anybody now?
No, I think that's the problem. Like realistically, like, Ange can't be judged until this transfer window is closed and seeing what players we bring in. And I think you said it, John, the forum, Mark, you're constantly saying the forum, like, we can't say Ange is not being backed at the moment because players are still coming in at the moment. The window is still open. But come maybe the end of September, October, Mark, if results aren't improving and stuff like that, Ange needs to be questioned then, doesn't he?
He'll be questioned long before that if results aren't going the right way, Paul. But we've got to be the thing with players. We've got to just wait and see what the squad's like when the transfer window closes. And as we said earlier, we can see the team improving the way they're playing and things like that. It just needs to be even what they're doing good, they just need to do it for longer periods. And do you get what I mean? More often, as you said, they kind of slip back into a kind of wee sideways tippy-tappy bit the other night against Hearts. So I've just got to do the
Is that down to maybe our fitness levels, Mark, still not being up to the level Ange wants them?
It might be. It might be.
Aye.
They're giving a wee kind of breather, just passing it about for a couple of minutes just to catch their breath again.
No, you could see that, couldn't you? In the last 20 minutes, he kind of started dropping off a wee bit. You could see that man in the training videos as well, like shouting at them. We don't stop, we never stop, we keep going. Maybe a lot of players just kind of up to the fitness at it now. It's going to take a wee bit of time to kind of get used to it, get them up to that standard.
So do you think maybe the start lineup was
2 weeks?
Go on, Mark.
2 weeks ago, Paul, you were saying you couldn't see how any other team in Scotland will be able to live this once we're up to speed.
No, and I still can't. I still can't.
Well, a wee bit of
once Ange gets the players in, Mark, I can and he gets the players in he wants, and we have the proper players in the proper positions where we have to play the way Ange plays. I can't see it. I think we'll be too fast.
I think we'll kick it off.
I mean, but we need to get the players in for Ange to do that, and I think I'm not making no judgment on Ange until we get these players in, and then we'll be able to see the proper way Ange has played, and then we'll make a decision on Ange. Get me? And I think that's only fair. Do you know what I mean?
Aye, exactly. I know what you mean. I'm just saying here. So other people are saying that now. You're saying off the results something gone our way in September. There'll be questions asked.
Yeah, I think
it's going to take time. Even we were talking earlier on about Mackay saying he's want to modernise the club and things like that. The guy's only been in the job a month. We're still what's happening with this. We all know we need some kind of department built up. Do you know what I mean? We all know that. Again, they could have done things a bit quicker, but it's take time for everything to fall into place behind the scenes.
You see that he's other clubs, his first couple of games doesn't go too well, and he clears a lot of the players out, and he gets, obviously after the first couple of games the results pick up, and that's when everybody starts to take notice of his teams.
Exactly. Just going on a point here that Buzz is saying, like, it's the same with coaches. Now, Andrews came out and he calmed his coaches. He said we're severely lacking in the sports science area. I know that's down to a fact of Celtic and our previous management not modernising the club and not going with the times like that. Celtic have really lacked in sports science areas, and that's down. And he said we need a conditioning coach in to condition our players to be proper. Like
the guy
we had all.
Man, just left him, Paul.
What's that?
See the guy that was running that for Yokohama.
He just left, yeah.
Aye, he's just left him. So maybe there's something in that.
There's some that he's bringing in his own staff there now. We had all these implemented with Ronnie Dyler. Like Ronnie Dyler came in, conditioned all these players. Like he said, we weren't fit, but this is going back to bringing in a manager who had no interest or didn't understand the way conditioning coach worked or the way sports science worked out. We're back to the same area again, Mark. That a new manager comes in and see that Celtic are lacking in these areas. That this is down to why players are being unfit, because we don't have the proper infrastructure to make these players the fit that they need to be.
I read on Twitter the other day, I don't know if this is true or not, it's when Lennon was announced as a Celtic manager again, Near Beaton put up on one of his social medias a picture, a wee emoji thing, a wee cartoon emoji thing, a burger and a smiley face.
I believe it.
Honestly, that's not on Twitter. I don't know if it's true or not, John, but folk are somebody dug it up the other day and says, I see that's him saying that's a diet out the window kind of thing and that, you know what I mean?
Well, it's basically saying it what you want.
And you believe it, like, do you know what I mean? You believe it, like, you know, considering like how Roger had put on severe weight, Mark, in the last 2 seasons. Yes, he was unfit all season. Griffiths put on weight all 2 seasons. Do you know what I mean? Like, standards just went out the door, and I'm not going back to last season because I don't want that, but we have a coach, you know, who sees that we're lacking in these areas, that he's bringing in these coaches for these areas, and he wants bringing these coaches areas. Like, so that's what I'm saying. Like,
See behind.
Changes are going to happen, Mark, but changes aren't going to happen right away. We need to give Ange time to implement the changes he wants, and it's not going to take a day or two to implement these changes. That's why Celtic fans need to just relax a small bit, let Ange do what he has to do, and see the changes being in, and then we can judge him once he has implemented. And Ange said, until Ange says he has a team the way he wants the team playing, Mark, we can judge Ange then. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
Sorry for your rant there.
Well, who wound you up this morning?
But that's a dig at these supporters on the forum who are constantly bitching. They're constantly saying, "Oh, this team isn't good enough. We're not going to win nothing this season." Going on what we have now, we're not going to win. But the transfer window is still open, lads.
That's what I've been. That's kind of what I'm sticking with. And I heard John the same thing earlier on. Wait and see.
Yeah, on the forum, yeah.
I just
at the end of the window, see what the squad's like.
I seen it away, and that's the only time you can judge it. Once you've still got to the end of the month, you can only judge it when the full team's in or the players are going to sign in. You can look at it for then and kind of see if it's going to be good or not. Now there's nothing there, and there's nothing to work with.
I think
the Japanese defender that's away to Olympics, right? We're obviously interested in him. I can't remember. Kota, is it? Is that his name?
Kotora, yeah. You're asking me.
We're obviously interested in him. I said to you the other day, Paul, see with Julian's injury, he's going to boot to the new year or that probably. Maybe even just a 6-month loan. Or a year, whatever, but we're obviously interested in him. But it's beyond Celtic's control, isn't it?
I was reading there about Julian there as well again today, and I was reading up about it. I was doing up all the reports that Ange was hoping that it could be October, but now looking at it, it could be December and into the new year that Julian could be back.
Yeah, but
so Julian's going to miss half the season, like, you know what I mean. So we do need to get players in these positions, as you said, Mark, like a 6-month deal. There's a no-brainer. Do you know what I mean? You pick up a player down in the championship there, Mark, who could come in and do a job for Celtic. Do you know what I mean?
If it needs to be a year, do you know? Even if it's going to be the Japanese guy for a year, it's still
exactly
somebody. And I'd be looking at selling Julian next summer anyway. Do you know what I mean? So if it works out the loan for the Japanese boy, they buy him to replace Julian. Do you know that kind of?
I think Julian is the type of player, Mark, who's another Roderick and beat on injury prone.
I don't think he's just. I think he's a big powder puff. It just seems to. He can't seem to handle the physical side of the Scottish game. Any big rough and tumble centre forwards he comes up against, he's struggling. As you say, he picks up a lot of injuries as well.
Exactly.
Boring you?
I did lack of sleep there last night. Sorry about that, lads.
Well, his wife's back for holiday and he managed.
Up late.
You know, like
watching porn on Welsh's dodgy IPTV.
Jesus Christ, would you stop? She listens to the podcast. Like going by the two start lines we saw between the first Midtjylland game and the three, like, do you think that we're going to see a similar lineup going into Thursday? Beeson may be starting again, I think Beeson will be starting again, I say.
I think maybe 1 or 2 changes. I think you might throw a Japanese boy in, but I'd like to see Welsh in there. Don't want beating this start. He's kind of a bit of a bomb scare as well. Welsh only going to improve if you play him, and you need to play him in games like this Europe too, to kind of get him more experience and more used to it as well.
What do you do, Mark? Actually, just going what you, John, there. So, like you said, the Japanese guy, Kyle Gogo, needs to start, right? So, do we maybe start him on the left and Abada on the right, or maybe take James Forrest out?
I was thinking that, I maybe put him on the left, and I'm kind of not too sure about Forrest or Abada, one I'd start, because Abada looks good, but he kind of looks still a wee bit raw. James Forrest, I like Forrest as a player. I like how he drives forward, gets into the box and has shots and stuff. So maybe edge towards Forrest a wee bit on the right and go with the Japanese boy on the left.
Mm-hmm. What about yourself, Mark?
I'd probably start with Forrest. I'd go with Forrest on the right and Kyogo on the left. And I'd go with Starfelt and Welsh in the centre backs. And just fingers crossed that it's hopefully maybe Joe Hart in goal.
I think that's I'm not worried about playing Welch in the back line and Starfelt. Like I've no worries there.
I'm
And
hoping they've been training together the last few days.
yeah,
And another
and exactly.
training, sir.
Exactly, and I think the main concern for me, and I need pointed out there, like is the goalkeeper position. Like, you know, that seems to be the biggest weakness in the team at the moment. Like, because one, he's not. It just doesn't give confidence to anyone who's in front of him. Do you get me?
No,
You know, like it.
whatever one starts, you know, see if it's Bain or Barkas at start, we'll concede a goal.
Exactly.
Say that now. If any of they two start, we will concede. I don't really. That's the way I feel about the two of them. Do you agree with that?
I think it's causing a wee bit of nerves in the centre backs because of the goalkeeper behind them. I think that if we make a wee bit of slip up here, they're not going to get us out yet. It's got a big goal and a bit more pressure on them. Because they've got a reliable goalkeeper behind them. That obviously no slip ups, but if they make one, they know they've got a reliable keeper behind them. It's going to kind of dig them out that hole and stop it.
And it's not even that. See, if you watch guys like Joe Hart, Kasper Schmeichel, and that, they're constantly shouting at their defenders.
Exactly.
I mean, they're both.
And that's the biggest. That's the biggest. That just shows the presence of a goalkeeper. Do you know what I mean? That if you make a mistake, you've seen there in the European Championships when Denmark failed to clear the ball and it went out for a corner. Schmeichel had to make the save. He gave hell to his defenders out in the line for not blocking that cross coming into the goal. Do you know what I mean? That's what you want. Like, you want someone behind you, Mark. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
Foster, Boric done the same kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
They used to say you needed to be half daft to be a goalkeeper.
Look, hello.
Well, I didn't want to say that, Paul.
It's been said years.
As the best goalkeepers are the type of guy. I mean, even getting back to guys like Van der Sar. I mean, Van der Sar was a big kind of docile guy when you saw him getting interviewed, but see on the park, he was a big angry man.
Yeah,
He was
exactly.
bawling and shouting and telling his defenders what they should be doing, where they should be, and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Bain or Barkas,
they don't do it like they don't have the presence for me to be a goalkeeper. Like, I mean, they just don't give me any confidence whatsoever. Which one I see in the starting lineup, it doesn't matter who starts, Mark. Do you know what I mean? I don't get no confidence in either two of them. Do you know what I mean? And that's bad for Celtic, who always had goalkeepers. Do you get me? You know, we always did. Like, that was always one of Celtic's strong points over the years, Mark. We always had a presence in goal. Do you know what I mean? And then we're left with these two. Like, it's frightening. Like, isn't it? You know.
Really, as I've said it, there's no one of them you would prefer or the other.
You know, and
whatever, see if we don't sign Hart or somebody and no a wild card signing or whatever, it's going to be a nervous night.
Exactly, it is, and that's the problem.
Because I honestly can't pick. I can't pick between the two of them.
Because I think any team, no Mark, that are scouting Celtic like in the Europa League, like, they're going to have seen like that our goalkeeper position is a weak point, and they're going to be lobbing balls into the goal.
See,
you know what I mean?
Our full defence is a weak point.
Yeah.
I said before the Midtjylland game, Paul, what we needed to do was keep them in their back foot and avoid set pieces in and about the box and that, and we didn't do that. We had to. Mikey said it as well. They weren't a great team. Keep attacking them. Attack was your best form of defence against Midtjylland.
And we did that, but then we had a striker, Mark, who didn't perform the way we wanted him to perform. Do you know what I mean? If we had a fit James Forbes on the pitch, Mark, James Forbes would have put. I think James Forbes' missed against Midtjylland was down to a lack of game time.
Just put that fault, the loss across that down to Beaton getting sent off.
Mm-hmm.
That was a hinge point to that, the full tie. But that was that was all we did today. Protect the defence and keep the ball in their half.
Exactly. I know I saw today like that Andrew saying that our attackers need to protect our defence. So Andrew actually sees himself that that's our weak point, is our defence. So he's saying now that our attackers need to protect our defence. So like, that's going to kind of take away the philosophy that Ange wants, Mark, that he wants his attackers to stay up and attack. Do you get me? You know that
defence in front. If that's this high pressing and that defence for the front.
Exactly.
And that's what we didn't do against Midtjylland. We didn't harass them enough to keep them in their own half, and we made mistakes at the back and gave away free kicks that caught us out.
Mm-hmm. The two big decisions that Ange needs to make is, look, we're not going to make a decision on the goalkeeper because we don't know if we're going to sign Joe Hart or not, so we're not going to put that in. Is the centre back and the striker for me, like who goes up front? Is it going to be Yeti? But I think again he might go for Edward.
It'll be Edward, 100%. It'll be Edward.
You know, John, do you go along with that as well?
Aye, Edward in it. It's the only option really. It's kind of obviously not interested, but it's obviously if you can get him out there playing, obviously maybe a goal or two off him. But in the back, I'd go with young Welsh. It's maybe that Japanese boy. If he starts in the left and he kind of comes in and helps Edward out a bit, kind of get a wee link up play with him, maybe get something out of him. But he's not got much options there now, has he?
Exactly, he could be key, Mark. That Kyogo couldn't he? What we're hearing about him, Mark, that he can play with any foot. Like he could be key, open up a defence and even getting a goal. Do you know what I mean?
Aye, could be. I think he's going to be that kind of player, especially once he. I mean, it's going to be early days again for him on Thursday. But see, once he finds his feet in Scotland, I think he'll become like a kind of Scott Sinclair player.
Mm-hmm.
That will have that kind of impact. I thought Elliot Russi was going to do that. Do you know? I thought Elliot Russi was going to tear up the Scottish League, but for one reason or another, it didn't kind of pan out. But I think he's still done well for us. But I think Kyogo could really make the difference for Celtic in these games where we need to break down the big banks of 5 and 5 across the park.
Exactly.
That's what on you go, mate.
Go on, go on, John.
Well, I think with Japanese players and Chinese players as well, they look after themselves, obviously with their diet and stuff, they keep themselves super fit and that as well, so can obviously get into Angie's system. I think he'll be up to it too.
That's what I'm on about, speed, like Mark, like that, like Kyogo will have speed, Mark, that Celtic haven't seen in a while. Like we already seen the effects that Abida has when he runs at players like that. We haven't seen James Forrest doing. Do you know what I mean? Like once Ange gets the players in, like we'll see a very, very fast, slick Celtic team, but it's going to take time. And I think all these Europa League qualifiers and things maybe have come a little too fast for Ange to implement it. Like my main concern anyway this year isn't the Europa League or the thing. If you get into them, fair enough, we do, but I don't want Celtic dropping down to the Conference League when we could be playing. I told you, Mark, we could end up playing games on a Friday night, early in the Friday night, quarter 5 on a Friday night, and then playing a game on Sunday. It's not a league that Celtic would want to be dropping down to.
No, I'm not really. Obviously, I like to see Celtic playing any games in Europe. I'm not one of these people, Champions League snobs that maybe just to get them on the forum. If we don't get into the Champions League, I'll not be buying tickets for that Europa League, and yet the ground was still sell out every game. But
exactly.
It's not our main priority is the league this year. That's what we've got to concentrate on. I mean, would it be a disaster if we go against this Jablonce or whatever it is they're called? It would be a disaster for a couple of days, but in the long run, I don't think it really. For even money, it's just Celtic's got to do what Rangers done last year and put all their eggs in the one basket to win in the league.
Exactly.
Definitely, that's what's got to be done this year. We've got to go for it.
You know, we leave it there, lads. Mark, have you anything else to add on, or John?
No, not really, mate. Just keep the faith, everybody. It will come good. Let's just get behind the team and have a good season.
Just before we go, actually, are these protests going ahead Sunday, Mark? Have you heard any more about them? Or?
No, they're going ahead. They're going ahead.
You know, that's like negativity that the squad don't need either, Mark. These new players coming in, like, so they don't come into the team like and see fans protesting against the board.
Well, I mean, these guys are going to be standing there with placards and that sack the board. But does Kyogo get off the bus to see? He's not going to know what that says. No,
chips and curry.
No, just doesn't. I mean, I don't know what they're hoping to achieve with this. It's a bit early in the season for protest.
They could have waited, Mark. They could have waited. Yeah, they could have waited, Mark, till if things don't improve. Like as you said there, like or you're on the pod, like Dom's only in the door. Changes aren't going to happen until Dom's in the door. And we were talking ourselves there, Mark, just a few days ago about maybe Ian Banker's actually being pushed out because what we're seeing at the moment that it's actually Dom and Ange that are actually doing the signings now, and it's not, and Banker has actually no involvement at the moment in signings.
Well, that seems to be the kind of gist here. But we've said it, we need fresh blood on the board. Nobody can deny that. I just don't think the first home game of the season is a kind of place for protest.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it adds a bit of negativity and a bit of pressure? It's not needed on the manager.
Aye, because although they're saying, oh, we're backing Ange and backing the team, but
you're not really, Mark. If you're protesting against the board, you're not backing the team.
We're protesting against the board. Well, why not wait till after the game? Protest after the game.
Let's wait till the end of the transfer window and see who they bring in, then make your concerns out.
Aye, but even if they feel that much an urge to protest this weekend, do it after the game.
Exactly.
When the game's on done with and players are coming off a bus,
like
crowds gathering.
We saw enough of that last season, and we saw like horrible scenes like Mark when they were storming Parkhead, like and barriers had to be put up around Parkhead. We don't want that this season. It's a new era. Dom is only in the door. He knows he's a job to do. He said that he's a big job to do. He says the club needs to be modernised, and said the squad needs to be modernised. His coaches that change will come, but not at the pace you expect it. Do you get me? You know?
Oh, but see, for me, Paul, this is kind of like ground zero again for me. This is kind of going back to when Fergus took over. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The full club's changing. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to happen overnight. Do you know what? You've got to give everybody a bit of time.
You know, I'd love to get these supporters clubs on, Mark, the podcast who applaud, and I give them hell. I would give them hell.
I mean, it's like you're going out there to protest before your first team game of the season. I mean, wait, how do we know that Celtic are only going to, probably grasping at straws a bit, but how do we know that Celtic's not going to, like, come out the transfer window and go, well, that was a great window. I mean, we came out last year's transfer window and thought,
great, yeah, exactly. One of the best windows we thought we had, didn't we?
Aye, we'd held on to Edward, we'd signed a £5 million goalkeeper, with Shane Duffy coming in, and do you get what I mean? Everybody thought 10 in a row was in, me included, thought 10 in a row was in the bag. And it didn't.
And I was reading then this new role, Mark, that Dominic advertised. What was it? A recruitment analyst, right? And he put up in some recruitment agency. And there was some fans group put up on Twitter, or this is how low Celtic have gotten that we have to advertise for a job on recruitment. That's the law. That's the law that Celtic have to. But Man City put it up at the start of the season. They're looking for a new role in their club as well, and they advertise it under the Manchester City PLC group. It was under, and the list of job vacancies at Manchester City was on that. So it's actually by law you have to put a thing into advertise, Mark. Do you know what I mean? Like some people need to learn the rules of the game before they can make comments and stuff.
Just people seeing something and using it to kind of a wee dig and kind of make, there's another thing the Celtic board's rubbish at, there's another thing. I mean, see, people are still going on about Peter Lowell.
Exactly.
Yeah, like Peter Lowell isn't part of the PLC board. So see if he knows what they're talking about.
I named them out the other day, Mark, didn't I? I named the 6 clubs, the 6 people that are actually on the board at the moment. I named them out that, and Peace of Laws, he's on a non-PLC board, and he has to be on that because of the UEFA committee, and if he's not on that, I do say about breaking the law.
We're not actually sure what they do, what that other board does, but if he's got any influence on the PLC board, that's him breaking so many rules and things, regulations about how companies are run.
Exactly, because they stated, Mark, that when they gave his resignations to the House of Committee, that he stepped down as Celtic CEO and involvement in Celtic. So, as you said, they're actually breaking the law. Then if he's actually still involved in the club. Do you know?
Unless, as I said, unless it's an advisory role for Mackay or even for Ange, maybe. Because there'll be stuff that Ange wants to know that maybe only Peter Lawwell's get the answer to
Exactly.
take better than he does. But for people to still keep getting on about Peter Lawwell, now just he's not got any kind of control at Celtic. Now just move on and let the new guys try and do their jobs. Give them a bit of breathing space. I mean, we don't really. Fans shouldn't care about what's going on in boardrooms and things like that, Paul. All we bother is what's on the park and whether the team's winning. Because for years when I brought up the way Peter was running the club on the forum, I was shot down. Because we were winning leagues, we were winning trebles, nobody cared what Peter Lawwell was doing behind the scenes when they were winning. And it's only if we lost the league and saw that we were going to lose the league that people started opening their eyes to see this.
Exactly.
I wasn't the only person. There's people on the internet for years saying the same thing as me about Celtic. Nobody wanted to know.
You listen, exactly.
While you were still winning. You know what I mean? While we were winning, it didn't matter. Nothing else mattered. So that's what we've got to look at. But when things aren't going right, they start worrying about what's going on behind the scenes. So what Ange needs to do is get a winning team on the park, and everything else will probably fade back into the background, Paul.
Exactly.
How about it?
So that's it for tonight, folks. Our thanks to John again for joining us on the podcast tonight. Thanks to you on the live chat. This show again was sponsored by Manscaped Grooming for Men. Manscaped, proud sponsor of Celtic Rumours TV, where the big boys hang out. Mark will now close the show.
Thanks again, Paul. Thanks very much, John, for coming on again, and everybody joining us live chat. Hope you enjoyed it. Remember, if you haven't subscribed, please do so, and remember to hit the like button. Thanks very much. Good night and God bless. Hail, hail.